remember when we started, Jane said, well, let's not ever stop doing this. Let's just do this until
we die.
Yeah.
And we can't do it anymore.
Every time we did a table read, I would look across the table and go, holy shit, that's Jane Fonda. That's Lily Tomlin. That's Martin Sheen. That's Sam Waterston. This is crazy.
Here is something that I never in my wildest dreams imagined. We were in New York doing press for the first season, and it began streaming at midnight on a Thursday. And Thursday night, we flew back to Los Angeles. By the time I got home in Los Angeles, I was getting texts and emails.
people just started in airports and stuff. People would say, Frankie, where's Grace? And stuff like that. I mean, that's how it starts out, and you're sort of dumbfounded by it.
What I'm amazed at is the intensity with which the people have embraced the characters and see themselves in it. That I've never experienced before.
You mean you're gay, and this is who you're gay with?
This is who I'm in love with.
You don't think there was a better time to tell us this? Like, say, any time over the last 2 decades?
I'm gonna throw up.
I'm so sorry.
Why now?
We want to get married.
Oh,
Mary! You spineless chicken!
Don't do that.
Sorry, are people looking? You want a scene? I'll give you a scene.
No, actually, I didn't want to see it.
Son of a bitch! And cut.
I was having lunch with the woman who is the head of television at Skydance, Marcy Ross, and she mentioned to me that Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin wanted to do TV. I thought she meant together.
Marta Kaufman invited me to her office, and she said, I've heard that you and Lily want to do a TV show together. And I said, sure. But it never occurred to me that I could dream of doing something with Lily.
oh.
But I didn't let her know that.
At which point, I get a call from Marta, and she said, well, I always wanted to do a show about older women and sexuality, so naturally I thought of you. And that made sense to me.
This is great. Oh, okay, here we go.
Maybe you need to sign those out.
We don't have to do a freaking thing. Go that way.
I will after I go this way. Wait. Hey, this thing has a great turning radius. I'm calling Consumer Reports.
Oh, God, not now.
The truth is, the show is really about starting your life over at any point. And that's what we discovered in trying to come up with what the show was. Part of what was so important was these are 2 very different women going through the same thing. And I think what that does is sort of, it touches a lot of people, says you don't have to be this or that to go through this, you can be anybody.
There's a life after marriage. There's a life after youth. I think people really needed that, and including young people. I think what I love is that I think it's helped young people not be so afraid of getting older.
And there was also a moment at your house. Jane was talking about how she was dating men who sometimes had to use like a pump.
No.
What was it?
We were talking about Viagra and Cialis, and she said, oh, there's another thing you can do. It's an injection in the penis. And Lily Tomlin said, you have got to get younger boyfriends. And we looked at each other and said,
That's the show.
that's our show.
Have you ever wondered if Ben and Jerry make more than ice cream together?
What?
Ben and Jerry, are they more than ice cream buddies?
How the hell would I know?
Oh, bitch.
Since the pilot episode set the tone for the characters and we're all getting to know them for the first time, these looks were really, really important. This is Frankie's pilot look. It's very much like a painting, and I knew it would look really nice out on the beach early on. I think one of my first interviews I ever did was like, who'd you look to for inspiration for these characters? And I was like, you know what? At the time when the show began, there were no over 70 lead women characters on any TV show. Grace's pilot look. She has her yoga pants we used in all of the seasons, all the way through, the acid wash boot cut yoga pants, and just a t-shirt, and then this collar on this goes up like this so she was able to hide, which was a really important part of what was happening, so this worked quite perfectly.
I want this house, Robert. You owe me this. See, I thought the one upside to this whole mess was that I'd never have to spend another moment of my life with this woman. I want this house. Sam Waterston? Martin Sheen? A dream come true. Because after, 7 years, you get to know them as people and what they're like, and it was just so great.
And both of these guys who had had such dramatic careers were so game for comedy and so happy to be doing comedy. I just loved those guys. They made me laugh.
I mean, our cast was so good, and we had these amazing people do incredible arcs.
Make a wish. Oh, great idea. You two. Here, let me get one of yours.
Oh, no, you pull one and the whole strip comes off.
So?
It's a little like pulling a thread. My whole face starts to unravel.
After season 2, we had to sort of reinvent the show a little bit because it was so clear they were friends.
Grace had always towed the line or tried to fit in or do what might be expected of her, which she assumed was expected of her. And
Right.
Frankie was sort of the opposite.
Right, yeah.
More of a free spirit.
We're making vibrators for women with arthritis.
Yes, vibrators. Brilliant.
Please let my water break. I think I just blacked out.
Oh, grow up. Older women masturbate too.
Mom!
And we have vaginas.
Why is it every time my family gathers for a meal, someone has to bring up my mother's vagoo?
Just say woodle like a grown-up.
Okay. I highly doubt there's a vibrator market for geriatric women with arthritis.
There is. I'm in agony.
It takes a lot longer for us to get off, so. We've had very sophisticated themes, vibrators, toilets, all essential to the aging person.
The way we looked at it was, how is it a Grace and Frankie story? These are women in their 70s. So the yam lube, it doesn't work on another show.
Frankie's homemade yam lube.
That's a lubricant?
Yeah.
I've been putting that on my toast. I'm a big fan of vibrators. God, I forgot how big they are.
There, I never forgot. I thought, well, geez, these are so overstated with these big old knobs on them and things like that.
Knobs are what matter.
Maybe you'd like to give us a demonstration.
And it's funny because the season, this is our focus, I got for Christmas. Everybody sent me vibrators. It's so funny. You should see my drawer next to my bed.
Jane, Lily, Sam, and Martin were 100% game. They never balked, ever.
No, and in fact, they were never squeamish because if it was true and if it was a real thing, no matter how silly it was, they knew it was real.
What is that?
Well, according to the deal we hammered out with the lube, they're putting my art on the box. And I know what I want to paint.
What?
My vagina.
Well, if they're going to take my face off the box, I'm glad they're replacing it with your vagina.
Well, at least you won't have to worry about being recognized in public.
No. But you might.
I had that whole yam lube storyline with Lily, and I remember doing a scene right over there.
Say Grace is going to be selling your lube.
My lube.
Uh-huh.
In stores?
Exciting, right?
Got it.
This wasn't written into the script, but she improvised it. I'm trying to tell her something because she's upset.
I'm gonna need $9 million and an Orvis gift card.
Okay.
And she has the blender out and keeps on blending over my line to sort of fuck with me.
I want to start over and just say I love the lube.
And it was so funny.
I love the lube, which is where...
I mean, it was kept in the final cut, and I kept on trying to get a word out.
I'm just going to wait till you're done. I'll wait till you're finished with it.
And it was just so good.
So we are here in Grace and Frankie's beach house, a set we have established from season 1. So when we first saw this house, it was very Grace and Robert. And then Frankie came in, her tornado of a self, and added her own things. This is one of my favorites. This is a hairy vagina, and this is the clitoris. And this is the vulva, and this is one of Frankie's sculptures. And it just sits right there as a centerpiece on the table, and we've had to shoot many, many serious scenes with this hairy vagina right in front of us.
Please put it down.
Not sure what I'm gonna do.
Figure out where you want to end up, and then don't start there.
For me, one of the key episodes was the gun episode. And that was where we had the starkest difference between them, but also had this emotional connection between them.
I have to feel safe. I feel safe when I have a gun in the house. Ergo, we need a gun.
Don't you ergo me. And there is no we until you get rid of that gun.
The one about Babe wanting them to help her die. We didn't go in it to talk about euthanasia. We went in it to talk about what does this do to people who love this woman, and these two different perspectives on what it means to help someone die.
How could you go along with this?
It's not my choice, but if Babe wants to end her life tonight, then yes, I would help her. I will help her do anything that supports her decision.
Babe's dying wish was to have Frankie have an art show. So this is from episode 301, the art gallery, a really big moment for Frankie. We just wanted her to look chic and perfect. And then the other thing about this look, these crazy coil shoes. I saw a woman wearing them in the airport, and I tracked them down. I was like, Frankie needs these shoes. This is episode 512, what Frankie wore to Bud and Allison's wedding. Not your typical mother of the bride look, but we knew it was on the beach. We had a very strong palette. This is Grace's look from episode 504, the crosswalk episode.
How's it going?
The writer, John Hoffman, wanted to make sure that Grace really popped in this moment. She's crossing the crosswalk. She needed to have a lot of power, and so we did it with color. Jane walking across the street, which ended up being the one sheet for that season, was Grace in the pink suit, you know, too old for this shit, waving.
I'm an 80-year-old woman, and I've earned the right to take my sweet fucking time.
That's my girl.
This is the look that Grace wore to Mexico. We got the red color in there, her power color. We got some print and interest and fabric in there, but the white shirt, button-down shirt is always a classic for Grace Hansen.
Yeah, we need Bonita, lots of it. And Frankie could use some Gas X for the ride home. I think a little bit of Frankie rubs off on Grace, and a little bit of Grace, I don't know. I don't know what part rubs off on you, but Grace loosens up. She gets a little bit more empathy.
I think Frankie grew in more spirit, more alive without Saul. At any rate, she would have been in a marriage, and marriage requires certain compromises, getting along if you care for the other person. And now I was just free.
For Frankie, I think sleeping with Saul at the end of season 1, she had to do that. She wasn't going to be able to move on really until she did that. So that was, I think, one of her transformational moments. There are two moments for Grace. One was right before she was going to sleep with Craig T. Nelson, and she puts on her nightgown and picks up her arm and goes like this in the mirror. I thought that was amazing. And then the other moment is when she took off all her makeup and said, "This is who I am." That, to me, was the most transformational moment for Grace.
Well, here I am, baby.
Jane and Lily not only grew into the characters, but the characters grew into them. They already had a close relationship. They'd been friends since 9 to 5, and a nice, really nice relationship. They're crazy about each other. They love each other. They give each other a lot of shit, all with love.
My favorite memories were the times when Lily, as Frankie, would just, I don't know, she'd get into this groove. She pulls things out of her hat that are totally unexpected. She also ends up always, even if it's not in the script, having the last word.
You know, the only reason I say I get the last word is that because if they don't call cut, I don't just sit there and like look around and say, who is someone gonna call cut? You kind of keep playing the scene.
So, does it aggravate the condition, you know, swelling or pain after you...
After you masturbate, she's saying. Praise his name.
they understand how great their comic chemistry is, and they want to do it. And they also have great patience with each other.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
one is off, the other one is supportive. You'll never see a complaining moment between the two of them.
See this? Total shutdown. Didn't hear any of that.
I remember it was getting late and we were waiting on Lily, who was in another part of another set doing something or other, but we were all waiting and I screamed for her. And I said to the crew, if you love her, you can do that. I love her, so I can yell like that. And they all started yelling at her. In other words, we love her too. It touched me so deeply that they just did it spontaneously.
As an outside contractor, you don't have a say in this. But what you can do is make a passionate argument. And if you make a compelling enough case, they might listen to you.
You think a song would work? Because I think I've got one. Blood on your hands, blood on your hands, blood on my hands. What have you done? What have you done? Blood on my hands, blood on my hands.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You know what? I think you've got this covered.
Wait, Grace?
And cut.
You know, you have a cast like this and a show that is about something, and amazingly, people watched, and people watched who we didn't expect to watch.
That's what we didn't expect.
Yeah.
We never expected that young kids were going to love it so much, and it's hard to know exactly why, but I think they like, Grandma can do that? Oh, I got to think of Grandma differently, which of course I love that they have to think of Grandma differently. Let's do it.
Yeah.
There was this incredible collaboration. This is the thing I will miss the most. Between the writers and the actors and the crew, it was a gorgeous, happy group of people.
I could have gone on forever because I think it's a good yarn with some really good characters.
My God, this is America. Everybody takes pills.
It's not just the pills. I was much happier not knowing. Now I'm gonna wake up every morning thinking about spots on my brain. Every time I stumble over a word, I'm gonna think, it's happening again. Or wonder, will I even get to finish my sentence? It scares the shit out of me.
Oh, you want to talk about scared? Let's talk about it. Today in the car, I thought I was watching you die right in front of me. I was terrified that I was losing my best friend.
I love the show, I love the characters so much. And it's really, really emotional because we love it and don't want it to end.
There's an appreciation for the set. I think there's an appreciation to be part of this story. I think we all realize how groundbreaking it is to be telling these stories in this time together for so long.
I love walking out to set at 7 o'clock in the morning and seeing all these people and everybody gathering around to rehearse and crew laughing at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I will miss those specifics, but really it's about the people.
You're so badass. Thank you. No, when someone says that, you have to say, that's right, motherfucker.
That's right, motherfucker.
We were hoping for a few seasons, and we miraculously ended up being the longest running series on Netflix, which is amazing and kind of unfathomable. Like I said, you don't go into it thinking that's what you're going to accomplish. But the fact that it's done that, that's when I realized it's like, oh, we did okay.
We're also so grateful to our fans who've reached out and communicated to us about what it is they love about the show and how the show has meant a lot to them. You know, as two working stiffs, I can tell you that really makes a difference. It makes it all worthwhile, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for supporting the show. We're so grateful.
It moves us more than you'll ever know.
We wouldn't be here talking, and Grace and Frankie would not have lasted 7 seasons if people hadn't loved the show and kept coming back. And so we are
very grateful, so happy, so great to have this at the end of our careers. Not at the no way is at the end of our careers. I'm sorry, I didn't speak for you. I'm not. I would
our.
Never,
you said our.
Yeah.
End of our.
Well, I'm speaking for you, and in a way, that's speaking for you. I apologize because I don't think it's the end of my career either.